Spending less and getting more is a no-brainer. That's why serious landlords choose Inago. Forget the myth that free software means weak features. Inago delivers everything. Tenant screening, lease signing, rent collection, and more. For free. No fees, no contracts, just a full-featured, reliable platform trusted by thousands of landlords. Plus, their top-rated support team is always ready to help. Ready to streamline your property management and save money? Visit inago.com today. That's inago.com/podcast.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Zach, and I'm here with trusty old Patrick.
What up?
Threw you off there a little bit. We're your hosts for this week's episode of the Rent-ish podcast, which is a podcast that's kind of about rental properties and hosted by two guys that work in the real estate industry, and they kind of know what they're talking about.
Yeah, but mostly not.
Yeah, mostly not. That's why you're gonna have fun listening to us talk to experts, learning with us, or just laughing at how little we know. And it's okay, we can take it. It's fine.
We're tough.
Yes, if we're tough. We got thick skin. Just don't make fun of our looks.
Yeah,
because we're peak attractive male over here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why.
Yeah. Don't look up our LinkedIn photos. Today's episode, we're gonna dive into a couple different awesome things. We got history of buildings. We're gonna bring back Proptology, bring it back, and then we're gonna do some listener questions to wrap it up. Patrick, how's your day going?
So far so good. I woke up a little bit earlier today for a meeting than I would have liked.
Yeah. So let's just get this out on the table. We have an 8 a.m. meeting.
Yep.
Company wide.
Correct.
You got up 2 minutes before the meeting.
7:58. That is, you are correct.
Okay. How is your life not filled with just an enormous amount of anxiety? If I woke up 2 minutes before anything, I'd be freaked out.
It's a little bit more like happiness. Like, oh, like if I had woken up earlier, I would be more tired than I already am. So it's like I did the right thing.
I told you I woke up at like around 7, had time to take the dog out, get some coffee, do my crossword.
Oh,
that doesn't sound relaxing to you?
No,
that doesn't sound like a nice way to start the day?
That sounds horrible. I mean, I'm happy for you, man. But if I set an alarm for 7, I would have a snooze every, what's the snooze, 9 minutes until 7:58?
Something like that.
Yeah, whatever. I would not get out of bed until 7:58 anyway. So I'm like, I'd rather maximize on the high quality sleep rather than interrupt that at 7 for no reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. We lead two different lives, my friend, two different lives. But either way, yeah, I think our energy.
Coffee it up.
It's a little low. We got some caffeine, though.
Got some caffeine, and we have games coming up.
Games, yeah.
So
who doesn't love games?
I know, get the adrenaline running there.
We're gonna have some fun. It's gonna be a good episode. I'm glad that you're awake and alert and ready to roll, Patrick.
So, yeah, alert, awake, alive, and enthusiastic.
Alert, awake, and
I'm alive. No, what's this? Alive, alert, awake, and enthusiastic.
Stop, drop, and roll. Yeah, We're good. Okay, Patrick, we're gonna jump right into it. We're bringing it back. One of everyone's favorite segments. Proptology. This is where we talk about the origin of historic buildings, historic landmarks, famous architecture, all that stuff. We got a lot of really cool stuff. Oh, I should have mentioned this at the top. Thank you for listening to the Rent-ish podcast. We're posting weekly. Email questions at therentishpod.com if you want to submit questions for listener questions, which we're going to do later on in the show. Follow us on the socials, all that stuff. Subscribe to the podcast. Give us a thumbs up or a like or a 5-star. Review us on Letterboxd. Whatever you got to do. Are we on Letterboxd, Patrick?
We need to get on Letterboxd.
We'll get on Letterboxd. Get that on the agenda. Okay, Proptology. Today, and I'm reading this straight from the document, the Alcatraz.
The Alcatraz.
Shout out to our producer who's sitting in the room with us. I love the Alcatraz, which I don't think I've ever heard anyone refer to Alcatraz with the. It's like the Ohio State University.
Right, that's what I was thinking about.
The Alcatraz. Alcatraz, Patrick, before we jump in, do you have any relationship with this building?
So
this landmark.
Well, okay, so I've seen it from afar. I've been to San Francisco.
Okay.
And we had big plans to go to Alcatraz. Except when we got there, my dad totally didn't book any sort of like tour and just didn't happen. So we saw it. Like I saw the Alcatraz in the middle of the bay or whatever, but yeah haven't been. I've seen Escape from Alcatraz and The Rock and whatever other movies.
We can talk about those in a minute.
There, yeah. Have you been?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, okay.
Actually, this last year in 2024, I was in San Francisco and I got the opportunity to actually take the ferry over to Alcatraz and get the whole tour, go through all the different exhibits. We'll talk about it here in a little bit, but yeah, I got to see a lot of really, really cool stuff because Alcatraz is a prison. or was a prison.
Well, yeah, I mean, I knew that.
It was a prison, yeah. So let's get into the facts. Alcatraz Island, located in San Francisco Bay, about 1.25 miles offshore from San Francisco, California. It's known as The Rock, which also famous movie.
Right.
Gets the correlation there. It is one of the most infamous prisons in American history and now serves as a popular tourist destination. And that is true. It is the touristy of tourist destinations in San Francisco.
Which is so, like, funny to me because it was like a prison for like really bad people. And it's like I don't know how many prisons in the world have become tourist destinations, you know, if that's a common thing or not. But like that, to me, that idea, that concept is just kind of like kind of wild.
Yeah, it's not like you can go on a sightseeing tour on Guantanamo Bay. So I think that's kind of not the same thing. But yeah, it is. It's weird that it has taken on this kind of like tourist destination because when I went, man, kids and families and like moms pushing strollers with their, but look at the prisons.
Right.
Like look at the Alcatraz. Look at the Alcatraz. And so it was pretty cool. But the island is renowned for its isolated location, which I think is part of the draw, right? It's just you can see it from anywhere you are on the bay in San Francisco. You're walking along Fisherman's Wharf, you're hanging out in the downtown in the business district, wherever you are, you're crossing the Golden Gate. It's just there.
Right.
You look out into the water and it's just this giant rock in the middle of the water. It's really, really fascinating. So I think it's like the intrigue of this other world being like right within reach, you know? It's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, a lot of notorious inmates stayed there and many daring escape attempts, and it's been long held as a symbol of mystery and intrigue. A little bit of history. Alcatraz began as a military fortification and prison in the mid-19th century before becoming a federal penitentiary in 1934. Prison was designed to hold the most dangerous and incorrigible criminals. Word of the day dictionary.
I knew we were going to have a word.
Script there, including Al Capone.
Right.
Heard of him?
Yep.
Pretty famous.
Yes.
One of the most famous owls.
I would say a top 2 owl.
Top 2 owl.
Of fame.
Ranking owls coming soon. George Machine Gun Kelly, not the rapper.
Not right, but the gangster Machine Gun Kelly. Yeah.
And Robert Stroud, who is otherwise known as the Birdman of Alcatraz.
I've seen that movie too. There's a movie from the 60s called The Birdman of Alcatraz starring Burt Lancaster. That's another one I've seen.
Okay.
That's the only reason I know who he is. I don't think he was like that. He wasn't like an Al Capone level criminal, but he just like raised birds in Alcatraz as an inmate. Yeah, it's like what he did.
How's the movie?
It's solid. So not to get too nerdy here, but John Frankenheimer is my favorite director of the 1960s, and it's probably his worst movie from that era. But it's good.
Okay. Have you ever raised birds in a criminal fashion, or are we allowed to talk about that on the podcast?
I haven't, so maybe that was the thing. I didn't feel as much of a personal connection to that, you know, movie.
What was he doing with the birds? Messengers?
No, he would just like, he saved this like bird, caught it in the, like on his walk outside or whatever. I don't know, but he like saved this baby bird and then got really into like ornithology. And so just like started having birds in Alcatraz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean,
check it out. Harsh conditions and reputation for being inescapable added to the notoriety. So obviously, part of the big reason why they built it out there is because it's a home for the most dangerous of people. If you're going to escape this prison or try to attempt an escape, you got to swim real far.
So like 1.25 miles. How far is that? Like a great swimmer, how far can they swim? I mean, I don't know if you researched that.
I don't know. I mean, like, it's 1.25 miles, so you got to swim 1.25 miles.
That just seems like a lot of swimming.
It's a long distance. I mean, like, obviously, you saw it from the distance in the bay. It's not like you're not going for a summer swim on the beach. It's like you got to cross the entire length of that bay. It's pretty crazy. But, fun fact, in 1962, 3 inmates, Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin, attempted a daring escape, and their fate remains unknown. So people have tried to escape Alcatraz in the past.
Mm-hmm.
It was officially closed, though, as a prison in 1963 due to high operating costs and deteriorating facilities. And then later on in 1972, it became part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area and was open to the public.
Wow.
So
9 years
it's a national park. That's one of my favorite fun facts about Alcatraz is that literally it's a national park. So you go there and it's like there are park officers and people that are giving tours, and you can donate to the parks facilities, and it's part of the National Parks Association. And
it's a park? Like, no way. Like, it's like there's like there's Yosemite, there's Yellowstone, there's Arches, there's Glacier, and there's Alcatraz.
There's Alcatraz.
That's crazy.
It's pretty cool. Fun facts. So we got more fun facts here. Alcatraz waters are famously cold and treacherous, contributing to the belief that escape was impossible. However, and this is what is touched on this earlier, the annual Escape from Alcatraz triathlon proves that swimming from the island to mainland is achievable.
Oh, there you go.
So you can actually participate.
I'm not swimming a mile in 1.25 miles. You kidding
You were
me?
just talking to me earlier about you're not interested in exercising at all.
Correct.
Exercise is not part of Patrick's life.
As
You
much-
go on walks.
I go on walks. I like walking, but every time I'm like, oh, I'm going to start doing this whole, thing.
Okay.
I do it for like a week and a half and then it just fizzles out into nothing. So I just kind of decided like me and exercise, like we don't get along super well.
Okay. Well, swimming to Alcatraz is just like walking, except for you're moving your legs and arms, and you're in the water.
Okay. How about, okay. I'll get into a regular exercise rhythm by visiting Alcatraz and pretending to escape.
Okay.
If that's...
How about this? If we get to 500,000 subscribers by the end of the year, will you do the Alcatraz Escape from Alcatraz triathlon? And we'll film it and put it on Twitch. You got to
Good.
agree right now. Or a million? Million subscribers.
Yeah, let's bump up this 5 million subscribers.
500 million subscribers.
Not 500 million. 5 million, and I'll do it.
5 million subscribers. All right. Follow the Rentish. Do the things. Get Patrick in the water. So prison cells here at Alcatraz measured 5 feet by 9 feet, with inmates spending about 23 hours a day in confinement.
Oh man,
Prison. Not for me.
I would
Just
agree.
throwing that out there. Okay, so in my trip to Alcatraz, being on the island itself, one of the coolest things that we actually got to experience there, and you can go, and it's what I highly recommend if you get the chance to go to San Francisco. It is a tourist destination, but it's not a tourist trap. There's actually a lot of history and really awesome stuff to learn about Alcatraz and its history and about all the different people that have occupied the island. There was actually a Native American occupation of the island in the 70s before it was turned into a national park. Really cool story that you can read about online. I won't get into it here, but one of the things that you can do while you're on the island is you can get a demonstration of the doors. So, do you know what I'm talking about here?
I have no idea what you're talking
Okay.
about.
So, in Alcatraz, they devised this method of closing the prison doors. The hallways are these long, stretched out hallways where it's nothing but doors. Prison on top of prison on top of prison on top of cells on cells on cells on cells.
Mhm.
And they designed these doors to work in a way where the guard could pull the levers of the doors to open them and close them. It was all automated. And for the time, done without any kind of like really electricity at all. It's all mechanics and gears.
Yeah.
So they could look down and see all of the doors open at the same exact time based on the levers that they were pulling. It was also an anti-escape mechanism. So you can go and they'll demonstrate what it looks like for them to turn these giant levers, open up. You have to have like multiple keys. You open it up and then you have to pull these levers. It's like a cartoon in a specific way so that when you pull the right lever, all the doors open at once on your specific row, and then you close them all at the same time.
Oh, that's
in your
cool.
Specific row. So you can tell these doors are open, now they're closed. And it's like these tiny little markers that you can see. When the doors are open, there's a color. When the doors are closed, it's all gone.
Huh. Okay.
So you could tell if one door was ajar or whatever, that no one was escaping or running out. It's really, really cool. And they make you like get all quiet for this whole demonstration too, so that you can hear this loud like... Spending less and getting more is a no-brainer. That's why serious landlords choose Inago. With features like tenant screening, lease signing, and rent collection, Inago gives you everything you need for free. No fees, no contracts, just powerful property management made simple. Visit inago.com/podcast to sign up. That's inago.com/podcast. It's really, really cool. It's a really cool experience.
Cool.
Okay. During its 29 years as a federal prison, no inmate was officially recorded as having successfully escaped, although 36 men made 14 escape attempts. Of those, 23 were caught, 6 were shot, 2 drowned.
What about the 3 that were missing?
I don't know.
I feel like that.
I don't know. I don't have the answers to that particular question. But yeah, of 36, going what? 36, 37, 35, 34, 33, 33 and 6.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Don't know how the math works out there. Alcatraz, home to a rare population of nesting seabirds, including cormorants and egrets, making it an important wildlife refuge today, which I think is also part of the reason for the park's protection on the land. You can see the birds, they're everywhere. Like right out front, the area that faces the bay, it's just like you look over the edge and it's just like birds everywhere, birds, lots of birds, yeah. All right, movies.
Yep.
This is where I need you to talk a little bit so I can take a drink of soda. The island has been featured in numerous films, including Escape from Alcatraz in 1979, starring Clint Eastwood, and The Rock with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Patrick, it's our movie corner.
Yeah. Escape from Alcatraz, I think it's a great movie.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen it. Clint Eastwood. I guess you said that already.
I've actually not seen either of these.
Okay.
I've never seen The Rock, and it's. I feel like it should be on my list to watch because I think I love classic Sean Connery films, and I'm a huge Nicolas Cage stan.
Yeah, I like both of them too. I'm not a fan of The Rock personally.
Okay.
I just like that style of movie is just kind of like I was getting annoyed and bored. But yeah, I don't know. I think you'd like it more than I did. But
Okay.
I mean, the Alcatraz aesthetic is cool though.
Yeah.
And Escape from Alcatraz, I think that's just a great prison break movie. I think that's based on the true story of like the three people or whatever who supposedly escaped. So really, really kind of cool escape. I love like a clever prison break movie. You know,
Great location for film. I mean, like,
yeah.
you got it's so aesthetic, like it's so creepy, and there's like all these empty cells, and like they left stuff there the way that it was, and it's like you're just walking through history. It's really quite a fascinating building. I always yeah.
Next time I'm in the Bay Area, I'll make sure my dad books the tour ahead of time.
Yeah. I won't spend too much time on this, but I got to call out Call of Duty Warzone.
Oh, yeah.
It was so they converted Alcatraz into a map in a Call of Duty game.
Okay.
So I spent many hours in the pandemic days of fighting in the walls of Alcatraz. But one of the island's oldest structures, which is the Alcatraz Lighthouse, was actually the first operational lighthouse on the west coast of the U.S., constructed in 1854.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of makes sense, but...
Pretty important lighthouse.
Yeah.
You got this giant rock in the middle of the San Francisco Bay with a lot of boats and stuff. You got a foggy night. You got to know where that thing is.
Yeah, right.
Makes sense that it would be there. And then the last one I got for you, Alcatraz's name comes from the Spanish word, and I apologize to all of Spain or the Spanish people. Alcatrazes? How about that? Meaning pelicans, reflecting the island's historical connection to bird life.
Okay, I had no idea that's what that meant.
Yeah. So, very, very interesting building. Did you have something else there, buddy?
No, I realized it was stupid right after I started to say it.
Oh, well, now I really want to hear it.
Well, I was just going to say, like, isn't an albatross, is that a bird? Albatross?
Albatross, yeah.
Albatross.
That's a bird.
Is that have anything to do with Alcatrazes?
I don't know.
Okay.
Producers, maybe we can get on that wiki albatross. See if we can't figure out some information. All right.
I feel like it's a no, but.
Well, that's I told you just about every Alcatraz story that I had from my trip. It's really fun, really interesting building. Lots of really cool history to be learned about Alcatraz. And yeah, that's been Proptology. Such a fun segment now, wasn't it? And welcome back to another round of listener-submitted real estate questions that have been sent to questions@therentishpod.com. Remember, we're here to help, but always consult the pros before making any big moves. We're here to give you some real estate expert advice from two guys that are getting there, but we're not there.
We're getting there, not got there.
Exactly. So with anything serious, just make sure that you always want to consult a professional.
For sure.
So let's jump into the listener mail. Questions@therentishpod.com. Patrick, who emailed in today?
All right, we got Janice from Lansing, Michigan. Janice is asking, I'm house hacking, and my tenant who lives downstairs keeps blasting his TV. The funny thing is, we're watching the same show. He seems like a cool guy, and honestly, I wouldn't mind hanging out with him. I know it's a bit unconventional since I'm his landlord, but would it be weird to just ask if we could watch the show together?
Well, firstly, I love that you wrote in, Janice, to us to ask our opinion on this. Because you clearly just need someone to validate you wanting to watch the show with this guy. What show do you think he's watching?
I don't know. It's got to be something on like cable if they're watching the same show. I mean, like, because if you're streaming, who knows if it's the same, or maybe it is the same show and like just on different episodes.
Yeah, maybe
right?
it doesn't need to be like I don't think it's like sunk up. Literally, they're watching the same thing at the same exact time. Maybe it's just like, oh, I heard friggin' Moira Rose downstairs on max volume. But it's like, what show? How loud do you need to be watching your TV at the apartment building? I mean, what shows are you blasting on max volume?
I think my neighbor below me can like hear when I blast. You know, I've heard her playing Taylor. Like I'm like, oh, I'm singing along to her Taylor Swift that she's playing in her apartment. You know, so like I think you know, I think it might just depend on how loud. I bumped into my last apartment. I bumped into my landlord at this like bar, and you know he bought me a couple drinks. We got to hanging out. He was cool. He's like 68 years old. But yeah, no, he just that was like our first time like hanging out. But he was a cool guy. Huh. He was like in a band in like the 70s.
So thanks for paying me all that money.
Yeah. That was kind of cool. And I know one of my friends, she owns property and rents out like it's a house. It's just she rents out one of the rooms to some person she found who's like her age, and like obviously she pays her rent every month, but they hang out. They're like live in the house. They watch presumably TV together, you know, and they eat dinner and stuff together. Yeah. So I think it, you know, I mean, obviously like it can be tricky because you don't want in my opinion at least, you don't want the tenants just like walk all over you if you're like friends. It's important to establish like the landlord sort of boundary, like, oh, like rent is still due sort of thing.
Yeah, that would be my answer to this question is like, as someone that can't relate to being a landlord and like having a tenant, I would assume that you would want boundaries. I've had landlords in the past that are a little bit too comfortable with like just, you know, being around the apartment or, you know, asking you questions, like being able to call you and like do it's like, I kind of just want to be like left alone. Like, you know, you have a landlord for a reason for all like the like help in getting stuff fixed or whatever. But like, I've never personally ever wanted a personal relationship with any of the landlords that I've had. I just, you know, it's a business partnership in a way. Like, I don't know if I want to be friends with this guy. But that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm a little standoffish.
So maybe the answer here is leave the ball in his court. And
wait for the tenant to come and ask you. So turn your TV up.
Exactly. Let him realize that you're watching the same show, and then if he wants to watch it with you, then you're golden.
You got to be careful though, because like, I could see a situation where the tenant thinks you're like mocking them or something. Like it's like, what? This son of a gun has turned his TV up to like, what the hell? Then you got a war of escalation on your hands. Like each person's turning the TV up. All right. Let's see. Next question. Where's the next question? We got James from Denver, Colorado writes in and asks, I'm considering buying my first rental property, but the market here feels very competitive. Should I focus on saving for a larger down payment, or should I try to get into the market sooner with a smaller investment? This is tricky.
Yeah.
Feels like one of those questions we may need to reach out to our real estate expert, Mary Regano, for.
I've actually been thinking about this too. Like when it comes time for me to buy a property, it's like, do I want to buy like be in a better situation, larger down payment, and kind of have maybe like a house I would want to live in, you know, or should I get something like maybe a little cheaper, something maybe like a duplex that I won't live in like forever, but like just to start kind of building my portfolio. I think it might depend on a couple things like interest rates and you know whatever else. But I'm not sure I have a super like educated answer you should rely on me for, because I've been thinking about the same question actually.
Yeah, I mean obviously one of the first things you got to do is just get your numbers in order, like calculate exactly what you can afford, and you know, and look for specific areas where you think that, you know, maybe you don't need to put down all of the money in the world. Like you could probably stand to do, like, you come to a number that you think is sensible for you and for the property that you're trying to invest in. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you can find something good that you like, I don't see a problem with going in and on a smaller investment, but you got to do what's right for you.
Well, that's also nice because it's like a rental property, right? So like you're going to get, like, it's different than the house that I guess you're living in, you know, because like with rentals, you'll get, even though you'll have like mortgage payments and whatever, you'll have like that income coming in.
Right.
So,
and then market trends, obviously you got to think about, you know, what's going on in different places. We've talked on past episodes of the Rentish Pod about, you know, kind of feeling out the trends in your area, how real estate prices have skyrocketed in specific parts of the country. And I don't know, you got to just come at it from a strategic side and then thinking long term, right? I mean, the positive would be that if you put a larger down payment down, it could reduce your monthly payment, but may delay your entry because you need to save up to get that payment. So it's kind of like 10 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah.
One of those situations. So good luck, James, Denver.
Let us know.
Remember, don't take our advice too seriously and consult a professional. Who else? What do we got here? Patrick?
Oh, yeah. I got Mia from San Diego here. Mia asks, I'm a new landlord currently setting up my rental unit, but I only have enough funds to purchase either a dishwasher or an in-unit laundry machine. In your opinion, which amenity would renters prefer? I definitely have one that I would prefer as a renter. It might be kind of a hot take. I could not live without a dishwasher. I hate doing dishes, and I would never ever cook if I had to do my own dishes. You know, I would just take out all the time. Like I can work with bringing my laundry down, like, you know, to another floor, or my last apartment I had to go across the street to a laundromat. I would take
this is a hot take, and this is wrong. All right. So you would rather okay. Now I got to frame my mind because I'm already getting angry. The dishwasher's sole purpose is to clean the dishes so that you can get the dishes out and use them to put food on the next time, or use the fork to do, you know, stab the food and put it in your mouth.
That is right.
Or the rinse the coffee out
right.
so that you can not drink coffee water and you can drink water.
Yeah, that is the dimension of dishwasher, yes.
So think about it this way. In the sense of time, it takes from the time of you turning the faucet water on to a warm temperature, putting soap on a sponge, and doing this, making a circular motion with my right hand on my left hand, which I'm pretending is a plate. It takes about, I'm going to say conservatively, 42 seconds to wash a dish.
No way.
And put it in the drying rack and wait for it to dry out so that you can use that again.
Okay.
To do your laundry outside of your home, you have to pack up your laundry. You got to carry it out. You got to go to the thing. Oftentimes, you got to pay money for the laundromat or for the unit. Like all the apartments that I've lived in that have out of unit laundry, all are like pay machines. Like you got to put quarters in there.
Yeah.
Costs you extra money. Then you got to wait. Maybe sometimes you're sharing those machines with other people. You got to deal with other people's like dirty laundry in your friggin' thing.
Yeah, but
none of this bothers you.
Okay, but it's an adventure, Zach. And first of all, I will say, like when you let plates and dishes and whatever build up in the sink, eventually it's not 42 seconds. I'm there for a half hour cleaning.
You're washing dishes for half an hour.
Versus I put my clothes in the laundry machine.
Oh
it's boom, done. I can go get a coffee. I can do literally anything else. It's also, you know, I've met plenty of, you know, at the laundromat. I just like strike up conversations with people. And I met an NFL player at a not a coffee shop, at a laundromat. You know, I wouldn't have met an NFL player doing dishes in my own apartment. You know what I mean?
I guess. I think you're doing it wrong. It takes you 30 minutes to wash the dishes.
No, I'm just saying when you have like a lot of like a dishwasher's worth of buildup in the sink.
8 minutes.
I want to time myself like turbo arms because I don't know how you're doing that.
You go like this, and then you go like this, and then you put it in the dry rack.
I don't know. Mia.
I like what you're saying about you get the experience of getting out of the house and meeting other people.
Yeah.
That's fine if that's what you want to do. But you put at home, I go downstairs in my basement, I throw the clothes in the washing machine, I do the thing, I start it, I go upstairs, I keep playing Batman on the PlayStation.
I'd like to have both, but that's not the question. Like, obviously, I'd rather have in-unit laundry, but also, and as far as the money thing goes...
Oh, you would? I thought you said you'd rather have in-unit...
No. I would rather have in-unit laundry than not have in-unit laundry. I would rather have both a dishwasher and a laundry machine. Okay. However, if I'm picking one, I'm choosing dishwasher 100 times out of 100.
Oh, see, I completely disagree.
No, I know. That's what we've been talking about.
Damn. I have in-unit laundry, and I don't have a dishwasher. In fact, I've never had a dishwasher
that is nuts.
At any place that I've lived in Cincinnati in my entire life.
Okay, I just want to also, because I'm thinking about it now, the point about like the coin, like paying for it with quarters or whatever. Yeah, that's annoying, right? But like units that have in-unit laundry, you can make for more money. You know, those tend to be more money per rent for...
Are you trying to say that the water bill is higher? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. I'm just saying, like, let's say an apartment's for rent.
They might charge you more for rent because they have in-unit laundry.
Yeah, brilliantly worded, Zach.
Think brilliant.
Yeah, you're a master with words. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so it's honestly probably you're saving money. Honestly,
I don't
by going to
agree.
a laundromat because they would jack up the rent $100 a month.
Maybe. That would be an interesting thing that we can research sometime. Email us if you listeners out there fall on one side of the coin on this one. If you would rather have the in-unit laundry, if you'd rather have the in-unit dishwasher, reach out to us, send us some messages. We'd love to hear from you and your experiences on what you prefer. Questions at therentishpod.com. We'll have to table this one, man, because my blood's boiling. Although I love your passion for meeting NFL players in the laundromat. That's brilliant. It's beautiful. I love it. All right, Patrick. Well, that's all the time that we have for this week's episode of The Rentish. Thank you guys out there for listening to us. We really appreciate it. It's been a fun one, man. I mean, we may have gotten in an argument, but you know what? I still appreciate you as a friend and a co-host.
Yeah.
We'll bury this hatchet at some point. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Remember, follow us on your podcast service of choice and download the episodes. Give us a like or subscribe or hit the notification if you want to get alerted when new episodes go live. If your podcast service does that, you can also give us a star rating or review us.
No, not 1 star.
Give us star ratings, multi-stars.
Yes,
ideally 20.
Yeah, right.
Or 25.
No less than 30.
Yeah. And we would appreciate all your feedback and questions. If you want to email questions@therentishpod.com, we'll answer those questions live on air, whether they're about llamas or not, or about ghost houses. That's maybe a cut segment that's not going to happen, but we'll see. Maybe one of these days we'll talk about that. But I've been Zach. That's my co-host Patrick.
Yo.
And we'll catch you guys next time.
Hey, listeners. If managing property finances feels like a full-time job, it's time to check out Ledger.ai. Ledger.ai makes property accounting simple by automating your finances, tracking expenses, and keeping you organized all without the stress. It's like having an accounting pro in your corner so you can focus on growing your portfolio. Visit ledger.ai/podcast today and let them handle the heavy lifting. That's ledgre.ai/podcast.